I'd like to invite now both the keynote speakers and the panel speakers to take their seats in the podium in order to reconvene. The first of our panel speakers is Professor Inez de Beaufort from the University of Rotterdam. She will be followed by Dr. Maria Kokozidou from the University of Aachen, and to be followed by His Eminence Father Elpidophoros Lambriniadis, who is also an associate professor of Ecumenical Theology at the Aristoteles University of Thessaloniki. So, okay, let me pass the floor to Inez for what, no doubt, is going to be a very stimulating talk. Inez.
Thank you very much, and thank the three speakers of this morning for their thought-provoking presentations. I have a confession and two questions. The confession is that I need to be enhanced, which is no surprise as all elderly ladies need to be enhanced. But first, I would be a terrible beekeeper. And the second thing is that I need this specific enhancement not to end up in situations where I'm supposed to react to speeches, while beforehand I have no idea what the speakers will say. So there are two enhancement options. One is to learn to say no, hoping that would be a no in a very targeted way. And the second is this pill called impro speed, increasing the ability to improvise. But alas, there is no such pill. So if I can't be enhanced, it would be nice if the environment could be enhanced so that there would be this swallow me button that would magically make me disappear from the place I am standing now. I have been intrigued, this is my first question, by the ethical responsibility of the individual. I'm particularly hopeful that Peter will say something about it because he talked about the evolution of groups. And this question about the individual responsibility is not an academic fun question, but a very existential question. What are my responsibilities as an ordinary citizen and as a person when it comes to greening humanity? Which demands in lifestyle, in consumption, and in how we raise our children? I'm afraid that for me it is too late to contribute to population control, as I have 3 children and could not miss one of them. But when Professor Harris talks about enhancement, he uses the not so controversial examples of vaccination and education. But how about enhancement in a moral way? Suppose we could degrade people by some clever treatment or device. Should such a treatment be mandatory? Is wanting to live longer a greedy thing? Suppose we could influence our digestive system so that we would eat less and therefore use less resources, or that we should refrain from eating meat. Is that a moral goal, a duty, or should it be mandatory? What are the priorities in enhancement? In its report on modern agricultural technologies, the European Group on Ethics in Science and New Technologies suggests the following. Dietary habits affect the sustainability of agriculture. For instance, according to a recent FAO study, the high consumption of meat products affects primarily agricultural production, use of land, water, and environmental pollution. In this context, education of consumers on public health, food quality, and agriculture should be beneficial and make a major contribution to food security and sustainability. The group therefore underlines the specific responsibilities consumers have for orienting the market. But how weak we are. Contrary to my usual style of research, which is normative, I did some empirical research this morning. It suffices to observe the behavior of people at a hotel breakfast buffet. There is a gap between the responsible citizen and the greedy individual person, and never the twain shall meet. Ulysses enjoyed his stay with the Lotophagi very much, and it took him quite some time to extract himself. My second question is regarded to Professor Solfson's talk yesterday. I spent last weekend reading 450 self-portraits of first-year medical students. The results are amazing. I asked them, what kind of doctor do you want to be? And I get poems, stories, drawings, statues even. These are very idealistic and creative young people, deeply moving. But something happens in the next 6 years, and things change, and they lose a lot of their idealism and their passion. If universities should have this important role of NGO, and I think they should have, what can we do as teachers for these students who are bombarded with ambition because their university wants to be the best? When I wake up, I'm often surprised that I'm not fired yet and I still have a job. Ethics and the teaching of ethics goes against running this university as a business-like machine. Cooperation between universities should be encouraged, but how and what can we do as ethicists? I hope that in the discussion you will include this question about the moral responsibility of the individual when it comes to degrading and decompetizing. What should we do, and how should we not hide between our role as citizens while advocating greening humanity, but not accept the responsibility as persons? Thank you.
Thank you, Inez, for a very stimulating presentation, truly food for thought. Now I'd like to pass the floor to Dr. Maria Kokozidou, who is the Laboratory Director of the European Vascular Center, Aachen, Maastricht, at the Department of Vascular Surgery of the University Hospital Aachen, and a very distinguished Greek scientist of the diaspora. Maria.
So thank you for the invitation. I will start from what Mr. Eugenidis said. This earth is our home. Europe is our home. And in this spirit, I'm coming here because this is what I lived the past 2 years in Aachen. And I'll give you a bit of background in that. It was 2005 with the decision of the RWTH, this is the name of our university in Aachen, to institute the clinical vascular surgery, because till then vascular surgery used to be with the cardiovascular thoracic surgery. And for this reason, Michael Jacobs was invited from the Netherlands to sit the professorship there. So we started with one man wanting to found a European center, which actually he did. In 2006, we had the certification of the first European vascular center in Aachen, Maastricht, as the first cross-national vascular center ever. The goal is a European hospital in the borders of the Netherlands and Germany, hopefully somewhere between 2015 and 2017, offering cardiovascular treatment of high technology, top, and research, meaning education and also service to the patient. We have about 500 inpatients per year, around 800 surgical operations per year, and about 2,000 operative procedures per year. And if one thinks that we are just 5 years old, that's good. So the performance characteristic of our clinic is for example, the neurophysiological monitoring via internet in real time from Maastricht for thoracic, thoraco-abdominal aorta interventions. I don't know how many people can relate, understand that, but that's a big thing. We can replace the aorta, which is the main artery in the human body, transporting the blood completely, and the monitoring, part of the monitoring takes part from another country. So we save some money there. I'll go to the signaling events following to the spirit of Inez. We have an aging population. We all know about that. We have an increase of aging diseases like renal, metabolic, and cardiovascular. We have an increased requirement for innovative therapeutic applications that we can apply now and not in 10 or 20 or 30 years. And in this 13 years project, the Human Genome Project, we found out about something like 20 to 25,000 genes. But as we were talking before with Professor Lehmann, we know that there's a lot of DNA there that we don't know what it is. A lot of it is foreign DNA from viruses, from bacteria that has been integrated in our genome, and a lot of it we don't know what it is. So for us, doing clinical research, we need models. The best are animal models that can simulate the closest possible the human disease. So we can transfer our results. Can we do it to 100%? That would be ideal. I'm showing this cartoon to you, and basically this is a human heart. And what we see here, all this, the yellow part, this is a huge stent. That thing costs about 20,000 euros. There are few parts in the world that can perform such an operation. It can happen where we are, but that needs a lot of expertise. And this is basically tailor-made medicine because it is individually constructed for the patient. I'll also give you the example of the chronic renal disease. In the US, we have about a race of 34,000 patients that rose till 2010 to 651,000. That's really a lot. And in order to have dialysis, whoever is a medical person knows, we need to connect a vein to an artery so that we can filter the blood. Otherwise, it is not possible. And the problem we have there, which is the nightmare of every surgeon, is what we call the fistula failure. And this is due to remodeling, due to hyperplasia that fills in the vessel, or to calcification, because we need to know there's background disease. Those people, they're diabetics, they have maybe 1,000 other diseases. So the clinical problem remains that our patency is only 63% for the first year. So, which means we have about 40% of the patients that need to be reoperated, maybe in their neck, maybe on the other arm, maybe on the other leg, and they end up in maybe 5 years not having any vessels available. So, we have to be able to provide for them vessels that will not be their own vessels. In Aachen, we have the luxury to have very good engineers, a very good engineering school. So there's a great collaboration between the medical school and the engineers. And there's a lot of tissue engineering in that area.